Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
What's going on, folks? September 4th, and I got some news to share with you today. So let's begin. First of all, let's talk about the crazy weather going on in this country. So while the East Coast is basically flooding or about to flood with yet another hurricane potentially hitting the East Coast, the whole West Coast is on fire. So we have the fires we know have been going on in Canada, which have covered me in smoke in the Northwest here. We've got more fires going on in Idaho, Montana, Washington, big ones in Oregon. We've got some Northern California fires that, you know, I had more smoke to deal with when I was in Mount Shasta a couple weeks ago. We even have a fire near LA. So craziness going on. Prayers to all the firefighters that are fighting those blazes. And heck, I mean, we know there was geoengineering manipulation that occurred with Hurricane Harvey. So who knows whether there was any manipulation that caused these extremely dry conditions on the West Coast this year. So, you know, we can only speculate to that. And next, let's talk about Hurricane Irma, because this hurricane that, you know, we had Hurricane Harvey slam into Texas. Now we have Hurricane Irma, which new forecasts are showing is about to potentially hit Florida dead on. So again, more prayers there. And let's keep an eye on this to see if there's any manipulation that stems from Hurricane Irma as well. But now let's talk about North Korea. So again, as I've said in other videos, I'm not worried about any nuclear threat coming from North Korea. They've tested a new H-bomb, they say, a massive bomb, one of their most explosive yet. But, you know, as I've said, we've got friends. We've got help on this planet. I am not worried about any nuclear catastrophe, fallout, World War III occurring, so don't have fear for that. It's all a fear game, and in my opinion, what's going on here is, just like I said in my last video in regards to weather and the Rothschilds dumping U.S. assets, the elite or the cabal, they're trying to cause as much of a shitstorm they can on their way out, so they're trying to manipulate the weather, they're trying to mess with the economy, and they're trying to beat the war drums with North Korea and those tests. No fear, folks. And then, again, we have a new whistleblower come out about Pedogate. So on the Victoris Libertas YouTube channel a few days ago, they posted a new Illuminati whistleblower. Well, not new. Apparently she wrote a book quite a few years ago, but new to me, I just heard about her. Her name is Cheryl Hersha, and she was literally born into an Illuminati bloodline family, and she was a part of some very deep Pedogate satanic ritual abuse. So much props to her for coming out. Very brave woman, and go check out the Victoris Libertas YouTube channel, their, you know, interview of her. These guys are awesome. She's awesome. So, you know, this is the kind of information that we need to get out there. And it's not going to get exposed and dealt with if we ignore it and don't talk about it. I was talking to a woman yesterday who said that she just avoids all the dark stuff and focuses on all the pretty happy rainbows and sunshine stuff. But this won't ever go away if we ignore it. So I know it's dark, I know it's dirty. Take your time if it's tough and difficult for you to digest, but needs to be talked about, needs to be learned and understood. So I'm going to link this interview down below. Next, let's talk about some secret space program stuff, because in my opinion, Pedogate and secret space program stuff are pretty much the two most important things that need to be disclosed to humanity. Those two, and also the whole dead doctor and holistic health cures. But in this case, let's talk about SpaceX launching that whole X-37B U.S. Air Force secret space plane. So it's called the X-37, and it's gonna launch again next week. But let's have a few words on this, okay? What this is basically the public version of the secret space program. So this hunk of metal and rocket technology that's older than our grandpas, it's bullshit. It's not the real secret space program. Secret space programs, I like to plural that because it's not one. There's multiple factions that have their hands on technology and have multiple programs running with it. So the real secret space program has been around since basically the 30s. And nowadays, there is ungodly amounts of money that have funneled into it. I think I read on Catherine Austin Fitts' Twitter the other day that it's like $18 billion that has been swiped and is now missing through the Pentagon. 18, not billion, excuse me, trillion dollars. Insane amount of money. Not only that, but this X-37, this Air Force front secret space program plane, again, still runs on rocket fuel, right? We know there's been electrogravitic technology, the control of gravity with electricity, since at least the 1930s, if not even before that. So in 70 years, they have 15 to 18 trillion dollars and extremely advanced anti-gravity and dematerialization and cloaking technology and all that jazz in these projects. That's the real secret space program. And that's what needs to be disclosed to humanity, not this BS. So that's what I want to say about that. Speaking of UFOs and space and all that jazz, we have UFO sightings going up like crazy. Case in point, before I want to get into this little bullet point, I have been seeing a lot more stuff in the sky. Just last night, my girlfriend and I were stargazing. We were laying out in the grass in front of our apartment complex here, looking up at the clear night sky, and even in this pretty urban-ish area, we saw a couple very weird things. We saw a power-up, you know, a little blip moving and then just powers up blue and fades out, and we saw an orb. I don't even know if it was an orb. It was just a it was white. It was this white thing moving extremely fast. It phased in. It went poof, and phased out. It wasn't even not moving at all. Right when it phased in, it was moving extremely fast speed and phased out a fraction of a second later. So two really weird things that we saw just last night, right? Not even out in the middle of the woods where you can see all the stuff in the sky. You know, there's a ton of light pollution. So the sightings are going up like crazy. I mean, I told her last night, I'm like, shoot, if everybody just stopped looking at their cell phones and actually looked up every once in a while, UFO sightings would double or triple. So, I mean, a lot more people are opening themselves up to it. And that's the point I want to make, is that if you open yourself up to a sighting occurring or contact happening, it's going to happen. Just have the gratitude, right? Invite them in and have the intent that you're going to have a contact experience, and you probably will. So there's my own personal experience I wanted to share about that. Now, I want to tell you about all the articles that I'm seeing reported on the mainstream media tabloid sites. So on these sites that I have listed, the ones that the mainstream media uses to push out their weird news and label it as conspiracy and put out a bunch of misinformation along with it as well, we have The Sun, the Daily Mail, the Mirror.co.uk, the Daily Star. These are just a handful of them that the mainstream media, the corporate elite, use to spread some misinfo with. And these websites have been posting a lot of stuff the past few days. One article here says, locals capture eerie footage of UFOs flying over Bristol. Another one says, UFOs have been spotted flying over a UK city. You know, onlooker stunned as helicopter begins circling alien-like UFO and bombshell video. Spooky Google Earth images from flying saucers to UFO bases which convince alien hunters there is something really out there. And all these articles are on these websites just within the past like 2 or 3 days. So because there's more UFO sightings occurring everywhere, right? Even with me, a lot more articles are being reported, so a lot more misinformation is getting out there and clouding what's going on. So anyway, I just wanted to point you guys towards that. You can have UFO sightings if you open yourself up to it and set the intent. A lot more stuff going on. And again, right, we might have some massive sighting occur that might be that straw that breaks the camel's back, or that, you know, mass event that starts shaking a lot of people awake. I wouldn't still count that out. Even though I know a lot of us have been waiting for that for years, it may well very be possible. So just wanted to say that. And then lastly, this is something that's going on right now, but I just checked solarham.net, where I go to check all of my space weather, because space weather is just as important as Earth weather, if not even more so, because the sun could knock out our grid like that, let me tell you. But what's going on is that there's a huge solar flare going on right now, and there is currently some sunspots facing Earth. A group of sunspots turned into basically one of the most potent class, a Delta class sunspot within just a day or two, and currently it's popping off almost a X class solar flare directly at Earth. We still don't know if there's a CME associated with this flare, but it's a very long duration flare, and again, it's almost X class. So we'll keep our eyes out to see if there's any mass ejection coming from this one. So in a couple days, we could be seeing some aurora at pretty low latitudes. We could get some, you know, there's always consciousness effects that go on with these solar flares, and even some, you know, radio blackouts and grid failures that occur with it too, if it's strong enough. And what's really interesting is that the Earth is getting very, very sensitive to solar output. So, you know, I won't go too deep into that science there, but again, it's very important to keep track of space weather. So in my future news updates, I'll let you know what transpires with this guy. I'm going to post down below the solarham.net website that I use to track this, and I'll also post down below pretty much everything else that I covered, especially that interview here that I advise you to go check out. And lastly, I wanted to tell you guys, thank you for all your support, all you guys that continue watching this channel, whether it's through Patreon, using that general Amazon link posted below, PayPal, whatever the case may be, even those of you who have been reaching out to book a session with me. Thank you all. And also, I want to get into more videos about everything, not only my news updates, but just answering your questions and doing kind of some deep dive research. I have some videos planned, but if you want anything that you want me to specifically address in a video, email them or comment your questions down below. I'll be looking for your guys' cues and do some more videos on them. So anyway, that's all for this, folks. Peace.